right, I think we're starting up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awesemo.com live before lock show, where we'll be taking you through the day's weather-marred MLB slate. Lots of exciting things to talk about. Lots of pitchers, lots of hitters, maybe a little bit of NFL showdown talk at some point as well. But I'm Chris Spags.
Didn't have a ton of time off of work, so still writing stuff. But it was nice to get back this morning, have a show with Adam. I'm excited to talk about this 12-gamer today and play some more DFS because I couldn't play a ton this week. I degened some NFL lineups that went about as well as you would expect, waking up after 3 straight nights of going out. I'm confident. MLB's going well for me. It's been a good year, and I'm ready to close it out with a couple of good weeks. So, yeah. What about you?
I'm feeling good about this part of it. It's tough for me to shift back to NFL because I'm usually not playing MLB on the weekends now, between having to do stuff this week, obviously. If you haven't seen it, I don't know that it's super relevant now, but it's still kind of relevant. It's interesting. We did an interview with Evan Silva, with me and Awesemo on the other end, talking about contrarian viewpoints. It's going to be a show that I do on a recurring basis called On the Contrary. But doing that this weekend and then kind of being in NFL mode, like I feel detached from MLB. Like I feel like I'm a negligent father or boyfriend and just like not giving it the respect it deserves. So I come back and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? Like I don't even know who's playing. There's always weather reschedules and stuff to dig out of. So it's tough, but the weather stuff too, I'm really not looking forward to tonight. What are you doing with the weather issues on tonight's slate, Jake?
Yeah. So I am not crazy about Musgrove. So I wasn't going to be on him. So I think I'm crossing Musgrove off. The guy I'm really concerned with, or not concerned with, the guy I really don't know what to do with is Zach Wheeler, because I really want to play him, but the weather just doesn't look all that appealing. So 10.5 is a really tough price to take more than a couple flyers on him, I think, if we have any uncertainty. So I'm shifting some exposure to Fulte, I think, in that same price range. And then I'm just dropping down to guys like Glasnow or getting up to Corbin. So I ended up with more Glasnow than I expected, ending up with more Ryu than I expected earlier this morning. So I'm done with MLB weather. I will say that. It's just I hate doing this. I hate trying to figure out the weather. It's my one complaint. I get to play DFS for a living and talk about it, and that's the one thing I hate about it most is MLB weather, especially in September. There's already enough uncertainty.
No, I'm with you on that. The weather is definitely my least favorite part. I happened to mostly avoid the weather issues last week and was okay. But that run I had the week before of like Friday to Monday, just getting all the games rescheduled, all the games being canceled or postponed, like right after lock, was really a kick in the nuts. So I think for me, I do have some Musgrove right now. I've avoided the Toronto-Baltimore game all day, which I guess now might be okay. I don't even know. Like that game I saw, like it didn't even have a total for most of the day. And then now it has a total, and now like the weather I think is on the other sites that obviously we all reference for these. It's closer to yellow. I don't know. I'm avoiding that game. I'm playing a little bit of Musgrove, not a crazy amount. Kind of ready to pivot off of that. I do have a little bit of Wheeler and maybe a couple one-off Rhys Hoskins, but I think overall not one I'm worried about weather-wise. I guess I'm just kind of avoiding those games.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a big enough slate where I think you can probably cross off 1 or 2 of them. It's just like once you start crossing off 25% of the slate, it's like, man, there's a good chance that something crazy happens in one of these games. I would say right now, like I don't think any of them get postponed, but the Mets Phillies, does it look better now, Jason Kelly? I don't know. It seems like it changes every other minute, so I'm going to have limited exposure to those games anyways, but I'm just worried about what to do with pitchers as far as basically Wheeler. That's about it. I crossed off Musgrove. I wasn't really on him a ton anyways, even though I understood. I just thought he was going to be over-owned. But, yeah, I will still have some Wheeler, I think, unless something crazy happens in the next 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I have a little bit of Wheeler. Corbin, if I was paying up that much. And, I mean, I get that Corbin's probably going to be – I mean, is definitely going to be a higher-owned pitcher, but I like Corbin more. I just think he's a better pitcher, and, you know, no weather concerns there, so I'm okay paying that extra $1,000 tax for Corbin.
There's a decent window until 9 or so. Even if that's 9 Eastern, that's still 2 hours to get a few innings in for Wheeler. I mean, I'd like to get up to Corbin if I could, but obviously you can't. It's a pretty big price gap. So maybe, I don't know. Right now, if I had to guess, I would probably have 15% Wheeler, which is a lot if that game ends up getting delayed in game and he's got to come out. But I'm willing to take the risk. I've basically been on the side of just play guys in weather games for the last couple of years, and you get burned sometimes. But yeah, I think I'm going to put myself out there to get burned with Wheeler tonight.
Yeah, I think Hoskins to me was a good enough play as a one-off. Or I mean, obviously a one-off, you could hit 2 home runs, you could hit 3 home runs. It wouldn't even really matter that much to Wheeler's overall total, as long as people that just didn't get on base a ton. But I think for me that was enough where I was like, you know what, I don't need you tonight, Wheeler. And that any sort of weather concerns, I didn't go there a ton. So I'm not Team Wheeler. I'm not super worried about him. One guy I am on, who really begrudgingly on, but he just makes things work, who people are talking about in the chat as well, Eric Fede. What are you doing with Eric Fede?
Yeah, I'm eating the chalk. It's just so it was a good spot already against the Marlins, and then they rolled out this garbage lineup. So at first I was thinking just fade it. It's ownership, but like I don't mind taking cheap chalk pitchers that I think are in really good spots. You can still differentiate. You can still go with the mid-tier guy. You don't have to pay up for a Corbin or Wheeler, whoever you want up there, and still get a pretty different lineup. So the Marlins lineup is just so bad that I'm eating the Fede chalk. I think I had 40% on my last crunch. By the way, we just got an ownership update, so I wonder if there's any major changes. But yeah, it's just too good of a spot. And now they throw out 8 righties against him, including the pitcher. I mean, have fun, Marlins. Like, Fede's not great, but he can strike guys out, and he should be able to here.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. I really don't like Fede, and I think we've talked about it on these streams. It's either been you or Josh I've talked to sort of at length about Fede at one of these points, and I don't think he's a very good pitcher. I think it might have been Josh, because Josh was like, yeah, he's good enough to get stuff done, which is typical Josh. Yeah. And by the way, if you're watching the stream, Josh is still alive. He was fine. He was on the stream with me yesterday for the NFL slate. He is traveling right now to his father-in-law's home to get situated there, while his town is unflooded. I don't know, deflooded, dewatered. So he is fine though, and your concern is appreciated. Keep tweeting him at Josh Engelman. Tweet him some love and support. But yeah, I don't know. Fede, I don't think is a great pitcher, but he has shown some stuff. His K rate's been up his last couple outings. I think there's some positive signs there that would make me think that Fede is a good play. So yeah, I talk for the most part with him. I think it makes sense to play him a fair amount, but feels dirty. Feels dirty, Jake.
It definitely does. It's just like you really want to eat the chalk on a guy named Eric Fede. I mean, I don't know. Like, if he didn't have that great start last time out, I don't think he would be this chalky. But 9 strikeouts in under 6 innings, I think. So he's shown he can do it. And these guys are just so bad. Like, Brinson is like a 30% K guy against righties. I think we have every lineup in. I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but I believe we do have every lineup in. So you can start your crunches now if you guys are done with them.
Yeah, so I mean, Fede, I think you can justify it. If you look at his whip, his xFIP, his Ks per 9, they've all gone down. Obviously, pretty inflated by that last start, which is pretty good. But I think that both of his last few starts have been good, or his last 3 starts or so have been good. So I think it's not good relative to Eric Fede. I should probably clarify that. There's nothing there that's too horrifying. And on the other side of Miami, Peter O'Brien, who I think is also an okay leverage one-off bat, but he strikes out 42% of the time. Brinson, 31%. Magnuris, Sierra, a little bit above league average. Trevor Richards, almost 50%. So easy strikeouts to be had for Fede. So I'm playing him. But
he's stretched out too. I just remember from this morning talking to Adam. But yeah, he is fully stretched out. He threw 100 pitches in his last start. So there's no concerns there either. It's just like everything's pointing to playing this guy, even at chalk.
Anybody you would consider pivoting to for him? I mean, or to get away from him? I don't. To me, nobody really jumps off. I guess you could say Suarez above him, but I also think Suarez might be a little overvalued for what he is.
Right. So like going through these guys in like the 5K range, you see Samson, can't play him. Desclafani, I mean, you could play him. Like he's not on a pitch count or anything, but
He's hurt me before.
a guy that I would pivot to if I had to, and I am, even though I am playing a bunch of Fede, is Trevor Richards on the other side. Just a guy with a really good changeup. Adams was talking this morning about how he had started to throw it to righties, and he's had a ton more success, which usually doesn't make sense to throw a changeup to the same-handed hitter too often, but Richards is just so good that he's getting whiffs, and you can see it in his K rate, about 2.5% higher to righties this year. Still strikes out over 20% of lefties, and obviously that pitch will induce a lot of soft contact, swings and misses. So I think Richards could have success. He's already had a really good start against the Nationals. I think one went really good, one went bad. But I do remember being on him on the good start, and it was because they were rolling out a lefty-heavy team, and I think he had 8 strikeouts. So he's the guy at, a fraction of Fede's ownership, I think makes for a reasonable pivot.
Yeah, one guy I ended up with a lot of who is I also feel similarly dirty about, but so the numbers don't fully make sense to me, and maybe Jake, you can offer some clarity. Wade Miley seems not that bad, and it seems like he's turned it around to a certain degree, getting a better swinging strike rate, better chase rate. His whip has come down, but still not getting strikeouts, not giving up home runs, though. Like, to me, he looks good. I don't get why he's not getting strikeouts, though. Are you going to Wade Miley at all, going against Cincinnati?
He's a guy I left in my player pool, so I'm not afraid to...
That's progress.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not afraid to, exclude guys either, and he made the cut for me. So, yeah, I do have some Miley. It's looking around 8 to 10%. I'm just finishing up, hopefully, my last crunch right now, as long as everything looks okay. But, yeah, he's not great, but going up against a team with a pretty low total, under 4, obviously he's got that great bullpen behind him, so that's partly why you're seeing the under 4 total. And there's really only one bat I'm scared of, and that's Eugenio Suarez, who I also have a lot of on the other side.
It's 6:30 Eastern, so that is the time that we're doing. Now that we're back, we didn't do home run picks Thursday and Friday last week, just because busy. Josh was literally underwater. Jake was out. So 2 days. I am still in the lead by 1 now. So that is a good thing, but a little scary to be back on the grind. We could have just called the competition last week, and that might have been fine. But we're going to do it, Jake. I'm in the lead. I'm going to go first just so you don't take one of my guys just in case. I'm going Curtis Granderson, going against DeSclafani. He can hurt me again. He's going to throw 10 strikeouts tonight because I'm stacking against him and I'm picking a home run against him. But Granderson looks good to me hitting leadoff.
I like it. He's been hot lately, too, at least before last weekend. I know he was. Or before this weekend. My home run pick is going to be Nelson Cruz. I really like him against Valdez, a guy who he's had decent results so far, but his swinging strike rates have all been below 8 in each of his 4 starts. He's not going to miss a lot of bats here, and Cruz is going to see him 2 to 3 times. And I like the Mariners overall as a stack, so I'll gladly play some Nelson Cruz. He's my highest exposed non-pitcher tonight.
Really? I have not heard people talking much about the Mariners tonight. Framber has kind of come back down to earth after being a little bit of a hot commodity. Last few weeks, his home run rate's been up to 4.8%, whip up to 1.8. His swinging strike rate's been about the same, so just worse results after getting maybe a little lucky his first couple starts. That does make sense. The team total's really low, so that makes me think it could be a Framber night. But if you're going to go against the guy, Framber does seem like a guy who people are not going against enough, and the ownership definitely makes sense to go Seattle. You'd be very low owned.
Yeah, that's why I like Cruz as well. So if you're not willing to do the full stack, I should say, then I think if you're going 5-2-1s, Cruz Haniger, Cruz Healy, I think these guys are really solid options as mini stacks in tournaments.
Courtney asks, how do you see stack ownership projections on Osmo? You can't see them straight up. You see individual player ones, and you have to kind of compile it on your own. But if you have a way around Excel, Jake, do you know any way that you might explain how one would put that together on Excel? Or do you use that? I don't.
Yeah, aggregate ownerships.
Yeah, I just use per player ownership. I don't use the stack ownership.
So you'd have to you'd have to have like a player list and then VLOOKUP the team and the player so that it spits out the ownership percentage and then just add it up in a column and have the sum be at the bottom. Because we only have 9 players at a time that get ownership, or eight hitters, I guess, for National League teams. But you get the idea if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, so you got to figure out a way, Courtney, to get them all on one page. That's what, if you see Josh's spreadsheet on any of the videos, that's what he does. He has a separate tab which just has all that stuff, and then it adds it up and divides it accordingly.
That's exactly what I have. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, T. McBee apparently has a home run list. Grandy is number 7 on his. I like how people have home run models now. We've really changed the way that people are viewing that and just chasing home runs like tornado chasers. I guess shouldn't say that right now, but might be applicable for some part of the country.
No, I know. I mean,
unfortunately,
and just like talking about like models and stuff. I don't know. It's just like when people say models, some people think of like super like complex Excel sheets, but like a model could be just like a few things and you weigh them differently and it spits something out just to get you a quicker look at things you're looking for, whether it's hard hit percentage or fly ball percentage, home run per 9, all that stuff. So when you say like my model, and I'm trying to say it less because it makes me sound snooty, but when you say that, it doesn't have to be a super complex thing. It could just be a few numbers multiplied or added up together.
Yeah, there is sort of like a preciousness with the whole my model, like whatever thing that DFS wide sometimes I feel like, but ultimately they're for the most part looking at the same thing. Some might be tweaked in a certain way to offer a little bit more of a perspective on one stat or another, but across all the sports for the most part they're looking at the same stuff, and models begin from the same place.
Agreed.
So yeah. Yelich home run. Okay, let's talk stacks. We didn't talk too much stacks. We talked a little bit about the Mariners, but we mostly talked about pitching. The Brewers stacked me. That's why I'm going Granderson. A lot of Brewers for me. Again, I'm afraid of DeSclafani. He has screwed me over when I've tried to own him. He has screwed me over when I've tried to go against him. He has hurt me in a variety of ways, which is just upsetting to me personally as a fellow Italian American. But yeah, no, I'm going against him tonight, and I'm riding with it. So. That they are my top stack of the night. What's your top stack, Jake?
Yeah, my top stack. Here we go. I'm just entering in my lineups on DK right now. All right, here we go. Top stacks. The Dodgers.
That is my number 2.
Okay. Yep. So I think we're going to be mostly on the same page. So Dodgers, Astros, Mariners, Rays, Brewers, Rangers, and then I've got a little bit of Texas. We've got the Braves, the Tigers, and the Padres.
So I don't have I didn't go to the Astros. I thought about them, kind of didn't get there. I have a lot of Dodgers. Dodgers definitely my number 2 by a wide margin. Little bit of Nationals, but mostly Juan Soto one-offs. I think he's in an interesting spot tonight, and I kind of like that matchup for him. A lot of Rays, that definitely too. Brandon Lowe, obviously we have to be projected one of the highest owned plays on the slate, but I think he's in a very good spot. He's been hitting well. He has dual positional eligibility with second base and outfielder on DraftKings. I think he works well for a lot of stuff. So yeah, those are my ones. I really didn't go that deep. I didn't dig to the Arizonas or like the Atlantas of the world. I just kind of played it straight with those guys because they all jumped off the page as being the best plays by far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it, but I just didn't want everything wrapped up in like LA, Milwaukee, Houston, all teams that I really, really like. But I didn't want to allocate all my team stack exposure to just a few teams. I don't think there's like a few teams that stand out as like the best plays, but I think there are some that are going to be low owned, like LA and Seattle.
What put you on to LA? Because I'm assuming it's the same thing that we've talked about before, but let's just talk about it for the people.
Yeah, it's just that I don't think John Gray is right. He's not missing bats. I mean, he did in his last start, but the results weren't that great. He went 4 innings, 6 strikeouts, gave up a bunch of runs. I just don't think John Gray is right now, and he does give up power already, even when he is right. And he's outside of Coors, so I figured there would be some ownership on him, but this is an awful matchup for him. The one guy you'd say, like, yeah, he's got a big advantage against is maybe Kike Hernandez, but still not like just some hitter that sucks or anything like that. So I don't know. I really like Bellinger and Muncy especially. So frustrating. He needs to do something big his first couple at bats. But he's only 4,300 today. So.
Yeah, so that stacked to me too. Same thing with you. We talked about it in one of those streams last week. John Gray's his stuff just hasn't looked as good recently. The numbers have not been there either. The results, like Jake mentioned, were a little better last time, but still, just because he picked up a couple strikeouts, it doesn't seem like his problems were solved. And the Dodgers have been hitting really well as a team. It just seems like they're hitting their stride at the right moment where Gray is not hitting his. So the fact that we have Gray projected to be, at least the last ownership that I saw, under around 15% rather, I think that's a decent leverage spot on this slate. And the Dodgers too, also being under 4.7. I don't, it's a low total, but I'm willing to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt just because they're such a good team hitting kind of stack, I guess would be the best way to put that.
Yeah, they're just so good for a stack, right? Because if they get to a pitcher, it's not like there's any breaks in that lineup. So if you don't have a Milwaukee type bullpen, a Yankees bullpen behind them, I'll gladly stack against you if I think there's a chance they can get to the starting pitcher. And I think there's a pretty good chance that they do that against Gray tonight.
Yep, I'm with you on that. I know you're into Glass now a little. You mentioned the Texas hitters that you have a few stacks of them. Are you more pro Texas hitters or more pro your boy Glass now?
I think I'm kind of split down the middle. So I think I'm probably going to be over the field on both sides, which I'm pretty comfortable with. Glasnow's a guy who I think he's got the potential to ruin the slate both ways. Like he could completely blow up, give up a ton of stolen bases and power. Or I could like reasonably see him strike out 7, 8, 9 guys here just because Texas has so much swing and miss in their lineups and just not put anyone on base and not have to deal with holding runners. So under 8K is a pretty good price for him, I think. It's a fair price. He's coming off a bad start, if I remember. Was that the one he got completely shelled?
I think there was one more in between that also wasn't that good.
He was 1% owned in that start. And he went 7 innings but only had 3 Ks, so I think people have soured on him. And the talent's there for him to completely wreck this slate. So I want exposure to that on a night like tonight.
Yeah, I do have a decent amount of Glass now too, especially if he's going to be projected for under 5% ownership, or even possibly even lower than that. I get it's a matchup at Globe Life, which but it's still hot, so I guess it's not a thing. But I think it is cooling down enough where that's not as 100% of appealing of a park as it was in the July and the dead heat of August kind of times. And Glasnow, even if it were, Glasnow gets enough movement on his pitches where I think he's in a good spot. You mentioned he's priced down on DraftKings too. I mean, if he were at 9,500, at under $8,000, and on this slate too, I think it's sort of a perfect marriage. So I'm comfortable with him. It might not be in a couple hours. Currently, I feel very comfortable with Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a great play in theory until he puts 2 guys on and they double steal, which could happen. So he's not going to completely ruin my night if it happens one way or the other. But yeah, I'm going to be on both sides of it.
Thoughts on Brad Keller tonight? The Gifted is asking.
Yeah, no shot. I mean, he's a guy I X'd out pretty early. Too expensive. Not a big strikeout guy. Not a great matchup. And he's got weather concerns. So, no, he's a pretty easy cross-off for me.
Yeah, I might be willing to give Musgrove a shot depending on how the next half hour. But Keller, I don't see the need to do that risk. He's been better recently, relative to Brad Keller, but not a guy who I would want to go out of my comfortable worrying about the weather with and all that.
Right. Yeah.
Edward Fernandez, can I stack? I assume this is an and. Can I stack Cincinnati and a Milwaukee players? Not stack Cincinnati on Milwaukee players. Literally, that would be very difficult to pull off, Edward. But figuratively, maybe.
He or she wants to stack Milwaukee?
Cincinnati and Milwaukee, presumably. Not on.
I mean, Milwaukee, absolutely. Cincinnati, I only like really one guy that I really want to stack, or really want to play, and that's Suarez. The stack, first of all, it's not great hitters. Miley's been quite a bit better as of late, at least in terms of limiting the damage. And then you throw in a really, really good Brewers bullpen behind Miley, and it's just not appealing at all.
Yeah, I would have wanted to stack that game more. The Miller Park is a positive hitting environment in general. But I do think Miley has kind of shown enough ability to turn it around. That said, the Wade Miley up until, the last couple months, I guess, has been pretty bad in the past. So I think there might be some logic in game stacking there and hoping that it becomes a high scoring one at a hitting friendly park. But it's not where I landed on today. I landed more on the side of Wade Miley than the side of the Reds.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, is anybody in chat playing preseason NHL DFS? Did you hear about that they have that, Chris?
No, I didn't. I did not. Shockingly, it didn't come up on my radar.
This is the first night of it. I know I'm such a degenerate, and I'm playing, so I'm looking for any like news or any crazy line changes, and I don't see any, but I will update the chat for the two of you that are playing.
Do you want to give your little 2-minute overview on the NHL preseason slate?
Just play guys who are playing. Like it's kind of like a fourth preseason game, or maybe like a first preseason game for the NFL, but most of the top 6 forwards and top 2 defensemen won't even play. So I think if you just know who's playing, if you're following on Twitter, like look for the next 10 minutes. You can just do simple Twitter searches on teams, and you can find out who's playing, who's skating with who. The first 2 games lock at 7 Eastern, so 15 minutes from now, and like right on the dot, not like MLB where it's 7:05. So make sure you get your teams in right at 7 Eastern. But you can just look at Twitter, like follow a NHL beat writer list, see which lines are skating together, stack up some lines that maybe you know of. There's one that's going to be super popular, and that's Winnipeg 1. And I mean, I'm playing Winnipeg 1. I'm playing 1 lineup. So Winnipeg 1 will be in my lineup. I'm eating the chalk. I want to see how sharp people are in NHL preseason DFS because it's never existed. But yeah, it should be fun. I'm just excited to click some hockey players into my lineups for the first time in a few months.
Yeah, I observe preseason stuff like for NFL. I definitely watched some of the games and kept an eye on the news and all that. I didn't play it though because I just feel like it's so variable. Like it just freaks me out, and I feel with this job in particular and how we try to preach the ideas of repeatable kind of data and discipline and all that stuff. I feel like preseason is the exact opposite of that, where you're rolling dice and making guesswork of who's going to be out there. And that's not my favorite thing to do. So I probably won't be playing NBA either preseason, but I'll be watching and rooting for you all.
Well, we have Fast Eddie Fear doing preseason content for us, and he crushes preseason.
Yeah, he'll be coming out with some stuff soon. We saw his video template was being designed today, so I'm sure he'll have some video content. Follow him on Twitter, Fast Eddie Fear. I think is his handle, at Fast Eddie Fear, obviously. Let's see. What else? What stack are you most afraid of? What did you miss? What are you feeling uncomfortable about with your MLB lineups tonight?
That's a good question. That's one we should probably ask more often. I'd like to have more Washington full stacks to counter my Richards. I do side with Richards on that side of the equation. If I'm playing one, and if it was a single entry and I'm pivoting off of Fede, it would be Richards. But I would like some insurance stacks against him, because if they do get to him, you get a terrible bullpen in the Marlins behind him. And you've got really good hitters in Harper and Soto, Trey Turner, Rendon, guys I like playing. So I wish I would have gotten more of them, but I just went heavier on some lower-owned teams. What about you?
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the Dodgers just because I'm pretty heavy on them. I don't know that I needed to be that heavy to get ahead of the field on them. But they just kind of worked for me in how I was building teams, so I kind of went a little over the top with them. So they worry me a little bit just because, maybe John Gray can get back on track. Obviously, we talked about that at length a couple minutes ago. Not something I'm anticipating happening, but it does feel like a spot where I'm not playing Vegas. And if I'm not playing Vegas, then I should just be gambling because, you could beat Vegas, then that should be your job.
Right. Exactly. If you could predict everything, we wouldn't be doing DFS. There's more money in beating the Vegas lines, right? So
that is correct. Are you okay with Musgrove given the weather? You haven't been much on Musgrove anyway, but what would you do, Jake?
I haven't been following it. I X'd him out just because I'm not comfortable playing a guy I already didn't love if there's going to be weather concerns. So I am still playing some Wheeler, but no Musgrove for me. I just didn't quite see it. I think he's going to be overowned, even with the weather.
Jason Kelly, pitchers in bad weather games in September are a bad idea. Expanded rosters and bullpens mean teams are willing to yank starters after even short delays, especially teams that aren't in it anymore. So
I think that's a fair
there
point.
you go. That's a little, yeah, it's an interesting point from Jason Kelly. I think, you know, I think it's a good thing to avoid risk right now in general with these games. I think it's the same thing of any sort of end of season sport. Like in NBA, we saw it as well. Like that one, you do kind of have to embrace some uncertainty, but you're still trying to find guys who have things that you can trust, like minutes you can trust, pitch counts you can trust, at bats you can trust, and that's sort of what I would key in on here. So I think that's fair. And California Cool's point about the pinch hitters for the Dodgers in a must-win series, also a fair point. I think if you know there are guys on there like perhaps Jock Peterson or Muncy, maybe worth fading them a little more than the other parts of that Dodgers lineup because you know they're going to get pulled.
A certain weatherman said if there is a delayed start announced, you can play starting pitchers with some risk. If no delay, fade Pittsburgh. That should be announced in the next couple minutes if it's not already. Let me look that up. I know I'm not playing Musgrove, but you can usually find that out on MLB.com.
While you look that up, the DFS GOAT, can we get some fire showdown analysis? Also, that was just not the best spelled thing, DFS GOAT. I don't know if you can get fire showdown analysis, but you can get some showdown analysis. I think the Bears defense is going to end up a little chalkier than it probably should be. And also, we have rankings for premium members on Awesemo.com for the showdown slate. So if you want to get Awesemo's view on which guys are picking up an A in points and value, go check that out. It's up on the homepage. To me, I think you're going to want to play the passing games and Jordan Howard in this one. I don't see the Seattle ground game getting going versus the Bears. Even if it does get going, there's a pretty even split with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny, both in terms of snaps and carries. So I'm not super into that. I would play Russell Wilson. I would play the Bears defense. I think you might have to play both in some lineups to actually get the value in the slate because it's going to be kind of a lower scoring matchup, I think. But the Bears offense should be able to throw on Seattle. I don't know. I'm still not sure about the Seattle defense because I thought they were better than they seemed. Then they got shelled by Denver, who also couldn't really get it going versus the Raiders. So I kind of am a little worried about the Seattle secondary. Tariq Cohen for the win. I'm actually would be more inclined to go towards Taylor Gabriel if we're talking about guys getting short routes. I just think that Gabriel was more of a safety blanket. Also, Trey Burton to me seems like they have to get him more involved this week, and obviously everybody's going to be off him after a terrible week one. So that's one spot I would consider. But the must plays for me, at least in the lineups I've done so far, I'm going to do more after we get off the air. But the ones I've done so far, I've had a lot of Jordan Howard, a lot of Bears defense, some Trey Burton, and then a lot of Wilson or Wilson Lockett. Obviously, there's nobody else there to catch balls. And yeah, I think that's it. Tariq Cohen is not Jewish. He is, I believe, just a black man who has a name Cohen. So
no, he is Jewish.
He is. Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he is Jewish.
Good for him.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I knew that from the Levitard show. If you listen to that ever, because Stu Gatz is Jewish, so I believe he is because he always talks about Tariq Cohen. So yeah, that's funny stuff.
But he could just be doing that as a bit, like oh, it's funny, ha ha ha.
No, I think he actually is. I'm gonna look this up. Now you
yeah, I think this one's actually worth knowing because it could greatly change how much I'll play him. If he's a Jewish legend of the sport, then we do think premium's good. If you want a free trial right now, use promo code. I see this is tough because it's me and you on the stream. Use Contrary again just because that's my most recent promo code, and I support my promo codes more than anybody else. Promo code Contrary will get you 1 week free of all of Awesemo's articles and premium rankings and ownership projections, as well as other content, including the deeper dive article every day by either Lofty or Adam. They do a great job writing that up, so go check that out. Lots of good stuff that'll help you win at MLB down the stretch and get you ready for NBA. NBA, NFL, NHL, really we're pushing hard in the fall. So go sign up, check it out now, become a member.
Sadly, well, maybe not sadly, but Tariq Cohen is not a Jew, is what he says.
He says, yeah, of course not.
He said, this is kind of some funny quotes. What do you say? I'm not Jewish necessarily, but I do feel accepted by the Jewish community. And then there's another headline that says, I'm not Jewish, but I love the Hebrews. Well,
It's an interesting way to say that, but look, I too, I went to a mostly Jewish high school because it was a private school in the Bronx, and the one that I would have gone to locally near me would have gotten me shot or stabbed as a white person living in the South Bronx. So I relate to being accepted by the Jewish community, or at least feeling like a part of it. They're very welcoming people. T. McBee points out in chat, Amari Stoudemire did convert to Judaism, but he was a beloved player in New York because of that. If only he were good when he did it, it would have helped out a lot.
Right? That would have, God, he would have been like one of the most famous athletes.
Well, to me, Josh Rosen could be like the biggest deal. Like if the Jets or Giants had drafted him and he were out there, I mean, he still can be in Arizona, but like he's a deep-armed, like a big-armed, kind of deep-throwing quarterback, like a little bit Mahomesy, but not to tout him too much because he's not going to do what Mahomes did. But that would be a dude who like Jewish kids would look up to for generations. They'd be like, wow, Josh Rosen, even if he were just shit, even if you were Matt Stafford or worse. They'd be like, that dude's the best. And I would make so much money. You could be an influencer just for Jewish kids who want to have a favorite athlete. Sandy Koufax was a while ago, Jake.
Yes, he was. Yes, I hear.
But enough about Judaism and their advancements in sport. We're rooting for you, Tariq Cohen, tonight, regardless of what religion you are. What else baseball wise? Any other either or questions, guys? Any general slate thoughts you want to know? Any last minute weather things you're pivoting on, Jake? Anything you're feeling really dicey about weather wise?
I'm just reading the Slack right now. Dicey weather wise, you said?
Yeah.
I'm kind of off of pretty much everything in the weather games. So not on Arrieta, not on Musgrove. Wheeler's the one guy I am on to some extent, and then. What's the third one? Is that it?
Musgrove?
Musgrove, yeah. I'm not on Musgrove once again, but there's another one that I thought maybe had some weather concerns, but I can't remember it. Anyways, I know I'm not too worried about it. That Toronto game is delayed. That's the one. But I still have
that one. That one I haven't even considered at all day.
So I do have some Toronto stacks, like I think like 4%. 5-mans, and then I eliminated them from my 2-mans. So if it plays and they do well, I'll have some exposure. If it doesn't, it's not going to ruin my night.
Baltimore delayed Rodney Washington is saying, so whatever. I mean, delayed still could play, but we'll find out. I've avoided it all day. It was red earlier in the day, and again, I'm not in that headspace. I'm just trying to chill, man, with the UMLB DFS. Just let's relax. Let's chill with this weather bullshit. Yelich or Justin Turner, who would you play if you had a lot of money to spend? I like both those guys. I would go Yelich just because it's a better matchup and safer.
Yeah, it's Yelich. I mean, it's just God. If you have the extra salary, spend up for Yelich. He just crushes righties. He crushes lefties too, but he's just one of the best hitters right now in the MLB. And Desclafani really struggles with lefty power.
Miley or Suarez on FanDuel, who has more upside?
Miley or say that again? What was it?
Miley or Suarez on FanDuel, who has more upside?
Who is the first
California
guy?
Cool.
California.
Wade Miley.
Miley or I'm thinking Miley versus Eugenio Suarez. Andrew Suarez. More upside, I think it's Suarez, but Yeah, no, it's Suarez for sure. San Diego does have a lot of righties, but definitely some swing and miss still in that lineup.
I think I would go Miley just because I think he's due to get more strikeouts based on the numbers I'm seeing. Host Golden NFL Showdown question: is it viable to have Bears defense as the captain? Yes, that is very viable. The defense, people forget about the defenses and the kickers, but a lot of times there's at least a defense somewhere in there for most of the winning lineups. Not every time, but a lot of these NFL ones, I feel like 50% of the time there is a defense in there. So definitely keep them in mind. Yes, if you do think Seattle can't get it going. Even if they can, actually, Mac might get a touchdown. Who knows?
Cash Entertainment. Yes, I do. I love Nelson Cruz tonight. Love him.
No Cardinals for you? We haven't talked much about the Cardinals.
Against Fulte? No.
Yeah.
Fulte's not someone I target against, especially not on a 12-gamer. There's not even like a lot of lefties in that lineup either. You can play Matt Carpenter, I suppose, but like, who else do you want to play in that lineup? I don't really see anyone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I didn't get to the Cardinals tonight, and I generally am a guy who thinks the Cardinals get a little underowned on just most slates in general. But Fulte, I agree, good enough. I mean, he is a hittable pitcher. so I could see the logic in going there, but it just wasn't one that jumped off to me tonight. Is New York Philly delayed? Jake, do you know?
Let me check. New York. No, I think it's good.
Would you stay off Wheeler on FanDuel Cash with the weather concerns?
Cash? Probably, yeah. I don't know what he's priced. I'm not playing on FanDuel tonight, but like he's priced at 10-4. That's pretty expensive. I'd go to Corbin if you can get there. Yeah, Corbin's 10K.
Would you go Arrieta or Suarez when considering for the weather?
Arrieta or Suarez? It's Suarez straight up. It's not even. I don't like Arrieta at all as a pitcher, and especially not at high ownership.
Ooh, okay. I like Arrieta more than Suarez. I don't think Suarez has a strikeout upside that Arrieta has, but I'm not playing a ton of Arrieta. Host Golden, did you guys do your home run picks? Yes, we did. I went Curtis Granderson, and Jake, who'd you go with?
Nelson Cruz.
That's right, Nelson. How could I forget? Nelson Cruz. Vontae Davis going to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Shame. Have you ever seen anyone retire in the middle of a game in any sport? Look, you know what? He wasn't playing, at least, and he didn't start. I think if your heart's not in football, it's how you get hurt. So I think he's fine to do it. I don't think it's like some, whoa, take that NFL. He showed you. But I do think it is good for him if as long as he's not going to keep collecting paychecks and stuff, and that's it. And he's retired. He filed the papers, and he's not being a bitch. Then sure, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, everyone can agree. Yeah, don't retire at halftime.
No, not the best.
It's just okay. The guy wanted to retire. Like, yes, you shouldn't have quit on your team, but sometimes you reach an edge or you reach a boiling point, and playing on a terrible team and probably your body hurts every day. Like, I understand it. Why you just want to quit.
Mm-hmm. And it's shocking it wasn't a Browns player, but the Bills, it's also got to be really depressing. And if you're not even playing and your team's getting just beaten down, and you're a guy who's been an elite cornerback in the league like Vontae Davis has been, who's also been pretty temperamental in a bunch of stops, I think it all adds up to it. Look, I get it, man. I'm with you, Vontae. By the power. Everybody should quit on the Bills, honestly.
Right?
Buffalo is a horrible city. I wouldn't go that far. The
decision.
people of Buffalo, very passionate. And they made wings. How could you be mad at wings?
Buffalo? Are those actually from Buffalo?
Yeah, well, at least like a style of them, I'm pretty sure. And I think the deep fried wing style was actually invented in Buffalo. I don't want to misquote, but they do talk about it like they did. So, Buffalo people. Those dirtbags. Drive yourselves through a table, Buffalo people. That should be Vontae Davis's punishment. If he goes through a table, everyone forgives him and he just moves on.
All right, NHL is locked, by the way. So no more hockey talk, by the way, if people are asking questions.
Dang it. Dag nabbit, Jake.
Stop asking, guys. It's getting overwhelming.
I can't wait. I mean, for me, I'm just waiting for the regular season. That's when my hockey stuff's really going to kick in.
Are you going to play?
Probably not, but if you tell me what to do, I will. I'll play one or two, I guess.
Well, I can't make the lineups for you.
Hey, can you sell me some lineups?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, totally. All right, so these guys are about as owned as I figured they would be. All right, then. Looks like I'm fading Shane Gostisbehere. Oh boy.
All right. Ooh, that's stressful stuff for you, Jake. Sweating. The Ghost Bear. That's his nickname, right?
Yeah. How'd you know? You know how.
Yeah, all right. I'm ready. I'm ready for the season. Actually, I did win, Jake. I don't know if you caught this because you were busy doing actual life things. I won our first Chick-fil-A bet of the NFL season because Josh thought that Sam Bradford was going to outscore Sam Darnold, and that one was not even close. That was a good win for me yesterday.
Yeah, that's nice one there. What's he gonna buy you? What does he owe you now?
We did it. We used to do it more for NBA streams, but we do like one Chick-fil-A dinner. Josh has not paid the bet yet. I'll allow it because he's literally swimming through water to get to another home. But it was a good win. It felt nice to get back on the board with one of those wins.
Yeah, always nice to beat up on your friends. It was invented in Buffalo. Well, look at that. We got wing experts in chat. We just got every type of expert. Meteorologists, DFS guys, Vegas experts, and apparently Buffalo wings experts. Met stack. Well, I think it's. Oh, that's not locked. Against Arrieta, yeah, that was a problem. I couldn't really figure out who I wanted to play against him, so I didn't end up on 5-man Met stacks.
Springer or Castellanos, which would you go with?
Castellanos.
I'd probably go Springer, but I'm not playing either. Brandon T, I guess that's right. You did give us the inspiration for the first Chick-fil-A bet, and then Josh fell in love with Chick-fil-A from it. So it's funny how that works. Even though he lived in the South, he didn't try it until forced to on a live stream. Harper, Yelich, which would you go with? I would go Yelich.
Yelich.
Let's see. Spagsby from trashy ass Edgewater. Florida? No, I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx.
Oh, and someone asked me this morning if I went to St. Thomas. Yeah, I went to St. Thomas and St. Paul. So if you're in chat, there's your answer. Forgot to answer that.
Are you under the field on chicken wings? Currently I am, because I'm not eating carbs, so I'm not currently eating chicken wings, but over the field in general in life. Jake, what's your stance on chicken wings?
I mean, it depends on the kind. Chicken wings, I'm more of a boneless guy, so if they're boneless, then absolutely. I'm all in. I don't want to do any extra work. I'm a lazy millennial who needs everything done for me, so boneless wings or GTFO.
Castellanos or I assume Franmil Reyes.
Castellanos.
I'd go Franmil. Why not? Best one-off outfielder for 4,100 or lower on DK.
4,100 or lower on DK. All right, let's do a quick look.
Oh, Edgewater Park in the South. To be honest, King Eames, that is not a part I lived in. I lived in Parkchester in the South Bronx. 177th Street on the 6th train.
Oh, outfielder. I was gonna say, well, Willie Calhoun I think is a fine play but that's more if you're stacking the Rangers.
Brandon Lowe.
Brandon Lau, yeah, I think it's Lau. Adam told me.
Is it? Why? Fuck, it's spelled like Lowe.
Well, yeah, you're right, but it does have an E on the end, so you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, but like we don't go like the store is Lowe's. It's not Lau's or
No,
you don't go get like tools at Lau's.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Brandon Lowe.
Reyes is a good one-off though. I do like him for 3,600.
All right, I think let's get a better chicken outfit to sponsor this. Chick-fil-A is super homophobic. They allegedly don't donate to stuff anymore, and that's enough for me. If you're not donating to anti-gay things, I'm cool. Like, just don't donate to them. But even then, the chicken's good. I support gay things enough, not with my mouth, but with my vote. So I think that's fine. I can eat chicken as a trade-off. It's only fair. All right. Oh, King Eames, Morris Park. I am familiar with Morris Park, but yes, I went to school in Riverdale, King Eames, and grew up in the Parkchester area. All right, that's enough for me tonight. Actually, Matt Carpenter or Cody Bellinger. Who would you go with, Jake?
Carpenter or Bellinger? Bellinger.
Bellinger for me too. All right, cool. That's enough for us tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to throw us a like, subscribe, whatever you can. Subscribe to whatever you can. Subscribe to our channel. Watch all the videos that are coming out. Lots of content. Weekend content we had this weekend. Stuff coming up every hour of the day almost. So keep an eye out there. We should have the return of Josh tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled for him. I'm sure he'll pop his little head in on some show or another. So that'll be a fun thing to keep watch on. Any parting words for the folks, Jake, before we go win some weather-destroyed money tonight?
Enjoy your Dodgers late night hammer, I think. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I am hoping for that. Oh, yeah, Jake, see you at the top of the NHL tourney, T. McBee says.
There you go. Yeah, T. McBee. Love it. Philadelphia's top line is Mega Chalk, or second line, I guess, technically, but they're like 80% in the $150, so that's fun.
Oh, man, you can't have that. Watch out for Philadelphia's top line in tonight's NHL preseason tournament, the one you're all playing. Watch out for us in the various MLB tournaments. Good luck in the showdown tonight. NFL we talked about. There's also an article on the website right now by EMAC breaking it down. I think that's a free one. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's Yeah, so it's free. Go check it out. It's on the homepage. EMAC has some pretty good insights. He was at the DFS school event, DFS education event this weekend. He knows a ton about it. So go check it out. Go see what he has to say about tonight and how to approach the showdown slate. And we will see you guys again tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in, and good luck out there.